All right. Hello, everyone. It is day 11 of my 30-minute 3D modeling challenge. And today we are making a shadow creature. All right. This will be a tough one, I think. Now, whenever I think of shadow creature, I think of making a creature that is like, it doesn't exist, but it's basically just some glowing eyes on the shadow of a normal creature. So we could do something like that. Or based on all these references, I'm pretty much seeing just like creature shaped things that are basically just black against a white background with some translucent and volumetric body parts. So that seems pretty straightforward. Okay, I think I'll do something black against a white background because YouTube thumbnails love big contrasting things. All right, daily study. Oh, and here's yesterday's. Turn you off, make you invisible, hop into layout, and let's get going. I'm going to use box modeling for this. So I'll start off with a cube. And I'm going to give this a... Actually, I'm not going to give it a mirror modifier. I'm not going to rig this. Oh. Okay, awesome. I'm not going to be rigging this. I'm going to just model it sort of freeform. So what I'll do is I'll use box modeling, which is a technique of using a subdivision surface modifier. And instead of having to manage all of these tiny little faces of the mesh, I just have these big box shapes that can make new geometry. And then once I add even another subdivision and a shade smooth, for example, you can get some really detailed meshes and some really cool effects without having to actually work with all of this geometry. You just have, what is this? You just have 12 vertices you're working with instead of these probably several hundred. All right. So I'll bring it back down to 2. That should be good enough for our modeling purposes. So for the creature, I'm thinking we do... Why don't we make something very angular? So I like these horns. I like how he's just kind of a little guy. I like how jagged these are. I like this as well, with sort of the beak and the pointed head. So why don't we start with the head? So I'll scale this face down. And this will bring everything kind of to a point. And we can bring that down. Let's focus. And I'll make a loop cut here, I think. And it's right here where I'm going to bevel and edge out. Why don't we actually select these 2 edges. Bevel this edge out. And these are going to be where we put our eyes. So inset. And yeah, that'll be good for now. So we have it like that. And I'm thinking, I'm trying to get good at like sort of my fundamentals. So why don't we do, I'm thinking from the side view, it'll be kind of, actually no, why don't we, here. So fundamentals, my thought process was I'll do like sort of an S curvature shape, like a, or maybe even like, wow, make them angled downwards. It could be fun to do a snake kind of creature. That could be cool. But maybe instead I just take the camera, and what I'll do is I'll frame it on his face such that he's like big in the camera. And then I'll have some like shadowy wisps coming off the top, even on the edges here, so that I don't have to actually model that much and I can just focus on the materials and, like I said, the shot composition. I can add like a glowing volumetric eye right here, and maybe I can make this like a hard beak, just like, where did he go? This guy, just like this guy. Okay, that's good for me. All right, so we'll lock that view. And what I'll do is we can select this. And if we actually just select these back faces here, this back face here, and I want to say it's the shortcut is Control right click to just extrude faces out. No, whatever. So that's not how I want it to be. Maybe we'll move it along the X, extrude, rotate it along the Y, and bring it downwards. So this sort of just looks like a goose neck at the moment. So I'm thinking we'll have to do a lot of heavy lifting in the spines. And how much time are we at? 24, okay. We'll have to do a lot of heavy lifting with the spines to sort of make the shape of this creature be as jagged as I want it. But for now, that looks good. All right, I'll do object, shade smooth. And then for the world background, we'll do the world, it'll be black, but I'll add a plane in the background. And I'll make this one just flat white. 90 degrees. Or actually, I'll make it about a line with the camera. Make it big. That's even a little excessive, but whatever. That's good enough for us. So we'll hop into shading. And I'll call this shadow background. And we'll hop into textures for a second. Oh, and for depth of field, I think we'll turn depth of field off for this render. And then for you, we don't care about screen space reflections. I do want ambient occlusion, as much darkness as possible as we can get into this image. That would be great. So, yeah. New material, shadow, creature, body. Okay. We'll start off dark black, completely matte. And then you're completely white, completely matte. How do you look in rendered view? So I think, actually even in our layout, what I'll do is I'll add an area light. G, rotate 90 degrees, face the plane, scale up, up into rendered view, and turn the strength of this light up to something like 100. And do we have bloom on? Because I do want there to be some bloom going on in this image. Perfect. Okay. So now for our shadow creature. Or wait, what if we make the bloom color black? Whatever, we can fiddle with that at the end. Okay, so for shading you, we are going to make it translucent. And we'll have to change this to alpha hashed, maybe alpha blend. Shadow mode, that's fine. Backface culling enabled, question mark. And then I think we'll need a light on our creature for it to do anything. Another area light. So you can see how it's wanting to be translucent. You can see sort of a very faint edge of the background. Where'd that area light go? There it is. Scale it up. Strength 500. How do you react to that? You know what? We don't need that. Why don't we go back to shading? You know what? I'm changing course. Bringing back the principled BSDF. While we're at it, sure, let's put in like a sun. Something like that. Yeah, I'll make the focus of it there. And I'll actually turn the strength down because we don't need that much light in our scene. Anyways, back to work. So for shading, we'll want it to be almost completely dark. That looks good to me. And then how do we make all these transparent jagged flecks? How do we make that convincing? For starters, I think we can actually grab... What is wrong with this? Okay. We can grab these faces. Like that. Shadow creature body, duplicate it. We'll call this shadow beak and leave it the same, but we'll go ahead and assign it. Make sure we grab that face too. And we'll just assign that. Back in camera view, we'll go to slot 1 and just turn the roughness. Oh, and it's not assigned for some reason. Assign, select, deselect, select, deselect, select, deselect, perfect, okay. Back to object mode. And we'll turn the roughness of that all the way up. So now we have a beak and then the rest of the body. Okay, now 17 minutes, all right. You're interesting in terms of your light. How to add smoke / fog, Blender, Eevee. Volumetric fog. Fast smoke in Blender without volumetrics. No. Whatever. We'll just add some transparent, spiky things. Layout. Give me this. Okay, we're gonna add some more cubes. Or what if we even go for like an explicitly geometric theme? Where we have sort of this aberrant sort of figure that emerges from some kind of smoky cyberspace, and we'll turn shade smooth off for this object and make the subdivisions quite low. And now he's like he's still a shadow creature, but of a very different nature. Make these one object. And then have some like, oh, and I'll actually add some more cubes, but we'll add them to the beak area. we'll have some of them overlapping, I think, actually. That's even more. And these can be sort of the fog that maybe he's breathing from his nose. I want some more over there. And maybe the eye, if it's over here on the left side, can be drawn in. Do that, like that. Okay, yeah, now we'll reselect all of these and join them all. Join again. Perfect. Okay. Hop into shaded view. And we'll make these a new material. We'll call it shadow decals, maybe. Where are our light sources? So we have our sun. Need more strength? Oh, maybe it does because it's a new, because this material is slightly different now. Whatever. Okay, so for these, we'll make them black. But let's add some noise. And let's make, yeah, give me a noise texture. And we'll plug this into the alpha. And again, we'll have to change the blend mode to alpha blend. And let's do a map range because we don't want any of them to be that dark. So maybe 0.5. It's the opposite. 0.5. Okay, cool. So let's turn the annotations off. Okay, he's looking pretty shadowy, but why don't we change up the beak and add a Voronoi with like a crazy scale to the normal, to the roughness. And I actually don't like how far up the beak that's reaching. Knife to this vertice. Come on, there we go. Now we'll go to face select, you, and give you shadow creature body. Okay. The background, I do realize I want it darker. And then we'll add just a big glowing eye. What's our time looking like? 11 minutes. Okay, cool. Another cube. Very cube-based guy. A little bit by necessity. Make it a bit more like of a rhombus kind of shape. And maybe even his eyes are jagged like this. And for shading, we want you to have an emission of a nice, just a red, maybe even a darker red, with a strength of like 5. Okay, that seems good to me. And then I'll duplicate that across, rotate it out, and are we getting a bit of eye protrusion, maybe less? So how do we make this more of a creature? Shadow creature. I'm thinking maybe I add a transparent BDSF, some alpha rather, to this principled BSDF, and we make it sort of fade out towards that way. So why don't we start off with the gradient texture, a linear gradient. Gonna have to work quick with this one. And location, looks like it's already on the right axis. Okay, perfect. And then we'll do a noise texture. Scale it up. Add it to a color ramp. Make the blacks blacker, make the whites whiter. Okay. Now we'll plug this into a mix color with the linear gradient as the factor, U as A, and then make this black. I see. Okay. Make this B, make U black. We'll lessen that a bit. And we can even add a color ramp here. And can we adjust the location of this a bit? Maybe it has to be here. Yeah, why don't we bump it this way and then can do one of those and use this as the alpha. All right, color maybe needs to be inverted. So I think that's what we want, but maybe it needs to be even more apparent. That's what's going on. Let's turn the Passepartout up on the camera. This is very mediocre right now. Not gonna lie, I'm not super happy with this. Maybe turn the contrast up. What's our time looking like? 6 minutes? Okay. So right now, I don't think I like the shape of this creature much. Yeah, because it is just kind of a finger reaching out into space. So what if I bring it up some? How does that change our shading? Okay, I like that better, but it's still not great, you know? Maybe we extrude some random faces out. How do you look? Doesn't change almost anything. I can't help but think this is a shading issue. Make it blacker. So we have red as an accent. So what if we add all of these? Okay. How to make wisps of smoke in Eevee Blender fast. Okay, render fast smoke without volumetrics. Okay, liquid nitrogen effect. Smoke, emit, type flow. Okay, you know what? Let's give it a try. Volume, sure. An empty volume. Go to volume settings. Cube. And modify maybe physics. Maybe it's a fluid of type flow. Flow type smoke. Flow behavior outflow. Okay. Fluid flow. No. Maybe we need a volumetric BSDF. Volume, principled volume. Layout. And what are the settings? Smoke, absolute density, surface, volume. Okay. Inflow, geometry. Vertex group. Material, render settings, volumetrics. Turn volumetric lighting off. No, we want that on. We might just have to take the L here on this one, because I'm not happy with any of these results. Maybe we'll adjust this material a bit more, because yeah, we have like, what, a minute left? 46 seconds. Make you darker. That's an obvious gradient. Make you smoother. Okay, I suppose that will be good enough for our shadow creature. And let's see how it renders out. And all right. So from the beginning, I think doing a whole creature in 30 minutes is a little bit ambitious, to say the least. I think it's obvious here that this is like a shadow creature of some kind, but what exactly it is hard to read. I'm not happy with the composition of this. I'm just not happy with this, to be 100% honest. But I suppose we did get it done. I think maybe if I had more time on this, I would focus on getting an actual smoke effect up and running. I'd have some, some swirls coming off of him. And I might even focus on, if we look at some of these references again, if I had more time, I would focus on getting some of the shading down, because all of these had like super bright patches of shading within them. They weren't just a flat or black like this one especially. And there are ways you can get this sort of like scratchy shaded lighting effect in Blender using some non-photorealistic shading techniques. Some of them I've shown off in previous of these videos, but for now, I guess that is it for today. Thank you.